When something huge goes down behind the scenes in WWE, it's perfectly common for WWE to ignore it and pretend it never happened. However, from time to time, WWE will openly address whatever is happening behind the scenes. This is rare, but when it happens, it becomes incredibly newsworthy. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 times WWE addressed a major controversy. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our own wrestling channel, Incredible. Number 10. CM Punk's walkout. Now, the night after the 2014 Royal Rumble, CM Punk walked out of WWE. Punk was frustrated with every aspect of WWE and he simply wanted out. This threw a wrench in WWE's WrestleMania plans, as Punk was set to face Triple H in one of the biggest matches on the entire card. WWE for a few weeks ignored Punk's walkout, but on the March 3rd, 2014 edition of Raw, WWE felt like now was the perfect time to address Punk's absence. Raw kicked off with CM Punk's theme song playing, but this wasn't Punk, it was his former manager Paul Heyman. Heyman would smartly mention Punk's issues with WWE management before referencing how Punk's downward spiral started when he lost to The Undertaker at WrestleMania 29. This was an ingenious way for WWE to reference Punk's departure, but it also shifted focus and began the build to Undertaker vs Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. Number 9. The terrible reaction to Battleground 2014. Battleground 2014 was a rather lackluster pay-per-view that didn't feature anything meaningful or substantial on the show. WWE received a ton of criticism for how the show was booked, and in a rare move, they addressed these criticisms during a Triple H-led promo on Raw the next night. The game would openly mock fans, referencing how they tweet their displeasure when they don't like the product, and how fans threaten to stop watching even though they will continue to watch the WWE product no matter what. This was a unique way to handle the poor reception of a WWE pay-per-view, and naturally could have addressed the poor pay-per-view feedback behind the scenes rather than openly mock the audience. Number 8. Bret Hart's absence at WrestleMania 22. Bret Hart returning to WWE in 2006 was a huge deal. Hart agreed to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, but the former WWE champion still had a lot of reservations about WWE, specifically Vince McMahon. It's tradition for the Hall of Fame inductees to make a brief appearance on stage at WrestleMania each and every year, and in 2006, Hart simply said no. When the Hall of Fame inductees were being announced by Howard Finkel, Finkel would declare that Hart wasn't comfortable attending the event. Whilst this was disappointing, it was appreciated that WWE mentioned Hart's absence. Number 7. Brock Lesnar leaving. One of the top matches on the WrestleMania 20 card was the dream match between Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. Unfortunately, on the weekend of the show, it had leaked online that both men planned on leaving WWE immediately after WrestleMania, and consequently, the Madison Square Garden fans wanted no part of the match. Both men would be extensively heckled, and this completely threw both men off their game, as they clearly didn't expect a reaction of this nature. WWE would smartly address the heckling through Jim Ross on commentary, as JR would mention how there were rumors that Lesnar is exiting WWE to play football. This was a clever move by WWE, as to completely ignore the reaction would have seen them insult the viewer's intelligence, which is something that should always be avoided. Number 6. Dean Ambrose's WWE departure. In 2019, WWE announced that Dean Ambrose was leaving WWE. This was unprecedented, as when the top star is leaving the company, it's uncommon for WWE to make it common knowledge. Nevertheless, WWE would reveal that Ambrose would be leaving once his contract had expired. Some fans immediately thought that this was a work, and they had justification in thinking so, but it was completely legitimate. WWE's logic behind the move was that they wanted to market the fact that one of their top stars was leaving, so every appearance that Ambrose was making would seem like a big deal. They would also reform the Shield, and they would market specific events based on the last time fans could see the Shield compete as a complete trio. Number 5. Low ratings addressed. WWE are traditionally reluctant to mention low ratings on their show, but in 2018 they decided to make it an entire storyline. Baron Corbin, who was the authority figure on Raw at the time, would be ridiculed by the McMahon family for the low ratings on the show. Corbin would be blamed for the poor product and why the product was disliked by a strong majority of fans. This was a bizarre way for WWE to address the low ratings. The weirdest thing was that it was still obviously the same people running the show behind the scenes, so nothing was gonna change. It was almost as if WWE wanted to avoid any responsibility for the low ratings, and they believed that placing the blame solely on one single character would shift any fingers being pointed their way. It was a daring approach to say the very least. Number 4, Sasha Banks and Naomi's walkout. Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out of the WWE in May 2022 sent shockwaves throughout the wrestling world. Banks and Naomi were unhappy with their creative direction, so they decided to literally walk out of Monday Night Raw. It was expected that WWE wouldn't mention their departure, but with them being the reigning women's tag champions, WWE had to reference the fact that the champions were no longer on the show. On the SmackDown following their walkout, WWE did the unthinkable. Lead commentator Michael Cole would reveal that Banks and Naomi had been indefinitely suspended for their actions, stripped of the women's tag titles, and had let everyone down. Fans were quick to defend the duo for their actions and call out WWE for the smear campaign that they were running. It was obviously the work of former chairman Vince McMahon in the era of Michael Cole, but it was still way over the line. Number 3, Cody Rhodes AEW run. Now, upon Cody Rhodes' dramatic return to WWE at Wrestlemania 38, fans were curious as to if the WWE would reference Rhodes' run in AEW. It was common knowledge where Rhodes had been, but it took WWE till June of 2022 to finally reference Rhodes' past. During a promo segment with Seth Rollins, Rollins would directly reference Rhodes' time in AEW. He stated, "You left WWE 6 years ago because you weren't good enough. And then every single day that you were gone, you and your little friends tried to tear down what I was building here. And when that did work out so well for you, you came running back. The prodigal son returns home to fulfill his family legacy. Not on my watch, pal. You don't get to be the conquering hero in my kingdom. No. You don't get to take a sledgehammer to the throne and get to come back to take that throne from me. I don't like you. I don't want you here. In 6 days, I'm going to prey on your insecurities. I'm not going to just change you, I will end you. And we can finally wake up from this American nightmare." Number 2, fans hate WWE product in 97. Throughout the mid-90s, WWE was falling behind with the time, and the WCW product was representing what the modern wrestling fans wanted. WWE were relying on dated, cartoonish characters, and it wasn't working, and they needed a new approach. As WWE went into 97, the product slowly but surely started to have an edge to it, and by the end of 97, Vince McMahon decided to break the fourth wall and publicly address the WWE audience. On 15th December 1997's episode of Raw, McMahon would state that he was fully aware that the fans are tired of having their intelligence insulted, and they were tired of good guys versus bad guys. McMahon would then declare that WWE were going to open the creative envelope, and this in turn would see the official introduction of the beloved and acclaimed Attitude Era. And number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austin's walkout. Stone Cold Steve Austin walking out of WWE in 2002 was without a doubt the biggest walkout in the company's history. Austin was their top babyface, and his decision to walk out was predominantly based on the fact that he didn't want to lose to Brock Lesnar on free television. Austin departing the company left WWE creative in a state of disarray, as they were without their biggest attraction and their creative plans had to be reworked. On the episode of Raw that Austin no-showed, WWE devoted a ton of TV time to address Austin's walkout. Vince McMahon would cut a promo declaring that Austin had taken his ball and gone home. The Rock would also cut a promo informing anyone who didn't want to be with the company to get the F out. The digs and shots would continue, and McMahon would even declare on an episode of WWE Confidential that Austin wouldn't be welcome back in any capacity. In reality, the relationship between Austin and McMahon would eventually be rectified, and Austin would return in early 2003 to build towards his retirement match against The Rock. But there you have it, folks, 10 times WWE addressed a major controversy. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.